You'll take the reins.
It is officially roughly 6 o'clock. We'll call the Rockville City Council meeting to order. We had a prior workshop session. We might share some of the stuff. Very little happened in that one. No council action was taken, obviously. So we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. It appears all of the council members are present, so we can officially have duty. Please silence your electronic devices. And we will be looking any additional. Before I get into that, I would just like to take a fleeting moment. We did not have a council meeting last month or a workshop, Monday workshop 1 month. And so we've had, the city has enormous amount of activity, though it's not seen publicly. And Mr. Bodie certainly has had a lot of phone calls as it relates to things council members have, mayor have, but strategic alignment for our council really showed this last 2 months, and that is the fact that with the layers of government having with the COVID-19 pandemic, lots of layers of what you can do and can't do. We collectively came up with, something unique that says, let's not harass people and add another layer or something like that. So from my perspective, I think to the council, we did the right decision by not intervening in the day-to-day action of anymore. And Mr. Bodie, I invite you to share with the public how you're the one that's out there day in and day out in the trenches. How we as a council reacted, probably the employees, staff of the city that reacted, but even the public reaction of not allowing the front door. So if you just share to embellish for a little bit.
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor and Council. The shelter in place went in effect sometime end of March or somewhere in that vicinity. And initially, City Hall was closed but doors not locked. And then the requirements for the public went up a little bit higher, I believe. And so then we ended up locking the doors. And during this time, the council has been absolutely 100% supportive of staff, of trying to work with the public and working with the governor's actions. The public has been awesome. There hasn't not been one negative call to City Hall or one negative visit expressing any disappointment or dissatisfaction with how City Hall is being run. Staff is absolutely, you've got awesome staff with Debbie and Judy and Jean and Fabian. They're just, whatever we ask them to do as a council or as administration, they're 100% on board with. Public Works was alternating their work hours to try to, in many times it's public perception. We want to certainly be cognizant that the public is watching and try to give them the confidence that staff is adhering to the requirements that we need to adhere to. So it's been 100%, I would say almost perfect. No negative comments at all from the public, none from the council, and none from staff.
Well, thanks, Mr. Bodie, for that response, and for the for the strategic alignment that we as a council had. It makes it a whole lot easier. So to that end, we will now roll down, unless there's any comments from any of the others. Otherwise, we will move along to item number 5, additions or approval of the agenda.
Dwayne, do we want to just add the fire thing with Main Prairie and 210th Street?
Does it take council action, or if you want to just...
No, or do we just want to add that into discussion later, or note that we had discussion on that?
It's not required.
Okay.
Okay. So you're set there, Brian. You that was part of your duty from last month to meet with Main Prairie, and okay, and that's taken care of.
I'll make a motion to approve the current agenda.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Contrary, same sign. Any abstentions? Seeing none, passed unanimous. Okay, item number 6, resolutions 2017, acceptance of the April donation, and that was a $150 In-Tune Marine, Richmond, Minnesota, Rockville Fire Department equipment, $150. What's the wishes of the
I'll make a
council?
motion to accept that donation from the Intune Marine under Resolution 2020-17.
Is there a second to Don's motion?
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to advance Resolution 2020-17. That's the $150 donation. Discussion? Sensing none. All those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Seeing none or hearing none, passed unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. We are now moving along to items of approval of the March and April bills.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the March and April bills.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I lost a precious piece of paper. I'll find it here in a second. But anyways, I found it. There is a motion to accept the March and April bills paid. And if there is any conflict of interest, be so kind as to point out when we call for the vote, and I will be abstaining on item number 19741. Any other notations? If not,
Abstaining from check number 019846.
I'd like to abstain from check numbers 019784, 019814, and 019842.
and that's services they serve for the city? Okay. Okay. Since we're ready to call the question, all those in favor of that motion, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Sensing none, passed unanimous. We are now at item number 8, consent agenda. This could be approved in one motion if the council so desires.
For the council's information, I need to pull I as an Ida.
Aye, and separate discussion on that?
Yeah, I'll explain.
Okay. So a motion would be in order to have the balance of the consent?
Before we go forward, on the approval of the city council minutes for March 11th, that was Monday. We didn't have a meeting on Monday.
You just discovered this tonight, right?
I did. I'll be honest with you. I forgot my packet at home when I left Sunday, and I just got it this evening or this afternoon.
What?
So sorry about that.
March 11th is Wednesday.
March 11th, Wednesday.
That was,
Oh, wait. No, wait a minute.
March would have been
I'm
our
looking
last.
at the wrong date. This is, March 11th.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I stand corrected.
There's egg all over your face right now.
It helps when you get the right month up on your calendar here.
Okay, so we'll back to what I suggested earlier. A consent agenda motion would be in order for all, or did you want to share? You want an I under separate discussion and action? A motion would be in order for sections A through H.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the consent agendas, items A through H. Discussion, I will be separate discussion. So A through H, any discussion on that? Sensing none, I shall call the question. All those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? None. Please proceed, Bill, if you would care. On
The Pleasant Lake Area Homeowners Association is an incorporated organization, and it is also a 501(c)(3). Since it is incorporated, there is a board of directors that oversees all, and well, I should back up. Since the Lake Association is the fiscal agent in regards to the fireworks display, the board has not met and approved this.
the Pleasant Lake Association or homeowners.
So
okay.
it needs to be put off till that board can meet. We've got 3 meetings between.
Oh, okay.
now and
So it's
July.
not quite ripe for us to act on it yet?
The board it has not approved it, so.
Okay.
Can I ask that the council would take action on it, and if they choose not to approve it, they can deny it?
We could contingent upon the
Well,
Absolutely.
I was thinking about that, but in these rough times and things are going off and everything's getting canceled, I see no problem in waiting.
Who is Becky Hansen? So we have a falsified application?
I haven't got a clue who that is.
Or she's probably, the applicant is the fireworks.
Pyrotechnic, yeah.
If the association decides not to do it, that's irrelevant to the council. If the council wants to approve fireworks, you can approve it. If they choose not to do it, that's fine. Don't do it then.
But if we approve it, she can go ahead and do it.
Yep.
Even if they,
We're the fiscal agent, and that can't happen until they approve it.
That's fine.
So what's the wishes of the council? Do we give it contingent upon that? Do we just not act on it at all? Just defer this decision until next month?
Yeah, I would say we just defer it.
I would say
Okay,
just
postpone
defer it.
this decision
Postpone it until next month.
time certain of next month?
Yep.
Okay, that's the wishes of the council? Could there be a motion to that effect? Just
you don't.
postpone
You
activity?
don't need a motion to postpone.
You don't?
Unless you call, you drew.
Well, it's on the record. Bill will be back with it next month and
Yep.
we'll go from there. So let's.
No, you're probably right, Mr. Mayor. I
make a
should just-
motion to postpone it
Thank
until
you.
our next.
Yeah, time certain when
Second.
it's brought up again by staff. Is there a second to that?
Yep.
Yes?
Discussion, seeing none, postpone to a time certain when it becomes ripe for us to do it, and that's the item 8J. All those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Abstentions, none passed. Okay, and so Bill, you'll stay on top of that. Public hearing, water service usage ordinance, amending the water usage ordinance. Bill, would you pursue that? That's the,
Well, this is a public hearing. Before you open the public hearing, I would just tell you there was 3 numbers that were changed. Considering this, the first number was the Pleasant Lake height was changed from 109.3.5 to 109.4.2. Grand Lake was changed from 1104.36 to 1105.36. And then the surfing from shore was changed from 500 feet to 300 feet. So those 3 numbers were the only thing that was changed.
That wasn't that 300, that's what the DNR was kind of in favor for too. Didn't you mention at the last meeting? There was
To
something-
answer your question, the state of Minnesota has tabled any movement on that footage until, I don't have it in front of me, but they have hired an independent research company to figure out that.
Okay, I thought you meant, that's fine.
and so,
Can you read those water heights again? Because I think they're different than what I have here.
109.3.5 to 109.4.2,
Okay,
1104.36 to 1105.36.
okay, yeah, okay, I got them right. I just heard it wrong, I guess.
and so it is a public hearing, so we will dispense or we'll recess our board, our council meeting at this point to invite anyone from the public that would care to address the council, to advance to the lectern, to be recognized as it relates to the ordinance 2020-108, amending the water service use ordinance. And I don't see anyone from the public advancing to come to there. Oh, please, to the lectern, and then if you would state your name and address for the records, and then we'll go from there.
My name's Nate Schmitz. Address is 1550 Prairie Drive, Rockville. I'm just curious, more or less for my own information, how the footage from shore was reached, and was that something that the DNR approved, or how did that number get brought up and
Going from 500 to 300?
yeah, in 500 in the first place, like where did the DNR say that's what you can do or what you can actually enforce?
The DNR didn't say anything about that. It was through documentary data that was presented actually on a WebEx about a month ago. They're actually recommending 1,000 feet.
Okay.
And so when we proposed this, the width of Pleasant Lake is 1932 and Grand Lake is, 6,000 something. But we could not say on Pleasant Lake that you had to be 1,000 feet
Yeah.
from shore. I mean, they give you
Yeah.
a little path.
Yeah, no, I understand. I was just curious because I've been by my understanding, the DNR needs to approve any ordinances regarding surface water use
Yes.
on any lake.
And once this goes, then it goes to them.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the original amendment was approved by the DNR.
No.
Okay, so,
The
has-
300 foot now has been approved by Stearns County,
okay,
and they're
okay.
hoping the DNR agrees with them.
Okay, so far, they still haven't pushed anything through the DNR.
No.
So they,
Well, we have, but there's a final DNR enforcement division
yes.
that has to give their stamp on
Actually has to
it.
approve that.
Yep.
so- Okay, so right now, it's not enforceable until the DNR.
That is correct.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. I
Yep.
wasn't sure how that worked. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
And I think for the public's purpose, this is a kind of a byproduct of the governance review or so of last year when we were talking about all of that, and then to get the DNR to abide by it, we needed to bring it back to 300. Is that correct, Bill?
Yeah, and then I don't think there's anybody else going to talk,
Yeah.
but we do have a written statement from a Jim Bartlemy.
Okay,
I don't think I need to read it, but we'll just submit it with the minutes.
okay, that's fine. Yeah, that was
But he
presented.
couldn't be here.
That was presented to all of our council members. Anyone else from the council or from the public that would care to address the council at this point?
Make a motion
See-
to close the public hearing.
Okay, there's been a motion to close the public hearing and a second. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, what's the wishes of the council? So
I
Bill
got a
would,
question on section 7, with the workload of our maintenance people. Would it be, why don't we request the lake owners, lake association people to take care of putting them signs and stuff up, after all it is to protect their property?
The sheriff's department would put them up.
Yeah, take care of that out there.
yeah, the sheriff.
The sheriff would be putting them up, not
Yeah.
our
So it
city.
says the city will be responsible for placement of signs at each public watercraft access.
And or their
We're
designee.
just stating that the signs are going to be there.
Right, yeah,
So our people aren't going to have to do it?
Nope.
that's correct. Yep,
Okay.
yeah, good point.
Bill, didn't we pass this last year at 500 feet with different
Yep.
elevations?
Yeah.
And so we're revamping this because the 300 feet was what was recommended, not the 500 feet?
300 feet is what Stearns,
Yeah, Stearns,
So that's why this is being changed, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Reverting back to that 300, and that's accepted by the county and accepted by DNR and stuff like that. So,
That's what I
okay,
thought.
yes,
I do make a motion to approve ordinance 2020-108.
okay. The public,
I
I'm
have
sorry.
one more
it's
question,
closed.
if possible, for the council.
yeah,
We're done with that part,
yeah,
sorry.
the public, yeah, we cannot put it anymore at this point,
Just
but
give me a
thanks. Yeah. Okay, so there's a motion and a second to accept the recommendation of ordinance 2020-108, which is the water service.
I'll second it.
There was a second, correct?
I just did.
Motion, then.
Oh, motion, and is there a second?
Yes, I just seconded.
I had telepathy, I knew you were going to do it. Okay, so motions and a second's been made to accept the amendment and make sure the record shows that Brian did the seconding. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Seeing none, passed unanimous. Okay, we are now at the department reports, Planning Commission. Mr. Becker, please proceed.
We have two items on the agenda tonight. Both involve Gerald J. Molitor. They are to rezone and make a qualified minor subdivision. This property is located in an Ag 40 zoning district. The property is currently a legal non-conforming parcel. Total average acres is approximately 20 acres. Purpose of the application is to subdivide and then sell half to a family member for a building purpose. Concept plan was reviewed and conditionally approved by the City Council in March. Rezoning required a public hearing, which the Planning Commission held. There was no one there to speak for or against. 10 notices of public hearing were mailed out. So under Planning number 1, the Molitor rezoning application, Ag 40 to rural residential, is recommended to be approved.
You've heard the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Chair to rezone the Molitor request. What's the wishes of the council? motion would be in order.
I'll make that motion, approve resolution 2020-19, resolution approving rezoning from A40 to RR.
Yeah, and anyone was paying attention, that's on page, I believe, 112.
I'll
So, you've
second
heard the
that.
motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept that resolution 2020-20, and that is the, oh, I'm ahead of myself here, that's the rezoning. I'll call the question. All those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? None. Passed unanimous.
The second part of the Molitor was a qualified minor subdivision with restrictions. So since we have now approved the rural residential with the wetlands in there, they could put approximately 3 homes on those 15 acres, on the 20 acres. 5 would be taken out due to wetland. Planning Commission felt that we should restrict that to just 2 homes, 1 per parcel. And that's what we're recommending to the council.
I'm reading the resolution here, and in the resolution, it doesn't say there's a restriction. How does that play into fact?
Have you got the current resolution, or which one have you got? The one that went out in the packet, I don't know if that was before or after Planning Commission. The one that's on the screen is the one you're looking at.
And so that, if this council agrees that would be then what, a deed restriction that would be attached to that conveyance of that title?
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I could interject.
Sure.
So my thought on this, okay, it's the 20-acre parcel.
Yep, currently.
Meets the RR requirement. There's 1 home there now, regardless of the wetland, because I'm not saying that doesn't play a factor, but the parcel, whether it's a 5-acre or 10-acre or whatever, has to have a buildable building site on it. So if it doesn't meet that with those other credentials, it's not a buildable site.
True.
So in my opinion, if this is 20 acres and it meets the zoning ordinance and it meets the size, why are we putting a restriction on it? That's my only thought. It's like, to me, it's just putting a jab into anybody that wants to do something in the city. It's like, okay, I met everything, but they're still putting a restriction on it. They would still have to come back to the city to divide that smaller than the 210s, correct?
If we were going to go into platting.
The reason, and Mr. Member Herberg, the resolution in your packet is that resolution. There is the restriction there, declaration of restricting further subdivisions of tracts A and B. That's in your packet.
Why am I not seeing that?
Don't know. But to clarify the question why the restriction is, this was the application.
Here it is, okay.
The application was to subdivide into 210s.
Right.
So in the spirit of the fact that in order to subdivide a 20-acre parcel in an Ag 40,
Because it's Ag 40 and it's restricted. Huh.
well, it was a legal non-conforming 20 acres. So to make it legal, we had to rezone to RR. So in the spirit of the application, 210s, it was staff's thought to suggest the declaration in honor of the application. The application was for 210s. It wasn't for 3 5s or 4 5s. It was 210s.
And
If a further council wants to approve of a third parcel, technically in an Ag 40 area, you may have rezoned this to RR, but it was only to make it legal. I'm trying to, I sound confusing, I'm sure. To make the request legal, we needed to rezone to RR.
correct.
And the request was for 210s, that's all, it's that simple.
And that was my thought process behind all this. It's now RR.
But
So-
you're putting that RR at the end. The RR was first to make it legal.
Correct.
And the request is 210s. You
Correct.
want to give them something they're not asking for.
I'm not giving them, I'm not telling them to subdivide to 5.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, we zoned it RR so we could make this split.
Yeah.
They were asking for 2, but technically they could have 4.
But that'd be another council action at
That
another
would
time.
be
at
another council
date.
action.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, why do we think we need to put a restriction on there? It's still conforming.
Yeah.
That's the part that I'm making the argument here.
It might be a moot issue, but it isn't really restricting it because they could come to a future date, they could come to us or a future council.
Absolutely, they could come back and the council could remove the restriction.
Right.
Okay,
The matter is, you had a public hearing, and this is what the public is thinking is going to happen, so why would we change it?
Right, yeah. So the public sees this as a simple split of tens, 2 tens.
I think
That was
some of the
request.
discussion was, correct me, Marty and Bill if I'm wrong, down the road, if Marty's gone and Bill's gone and I'm gone, somebody's looking at this, that it has to come back to the council because it's got the restriction. It would have to come back regardless. But the same devil's advocate could be played that when the 2 Molitors sell and now the next person wants to buy, they don't know what all this discussion was. They see that there's a deed restriction, they can't split, but technically they could, but they're reading that. So that's why I'm saying I don't think it needs to be in there. Because it's putting something in there that somebody might deter away from at some point, because they weren't privy to this conversation 20 years from now.
At straws.
Well, I mean,
I understand what you're saying, but the fact of the matter is, there was a public hearing, and the planning commission held a public hearing, and the public is assuming it's going to be 2 tens, and I think that's the way it should stay.
I just don't think it's right to be
You're
adding
not wrong in
stuff.
what you're saying, but the fact of the matter is,
I just don't think it's right to be adding stuff that doesn't need to be in there. That's all I'm saying.
you got right to your
But
opinion.
we have,
You were overruled.
yeah, we have in front of us at this point, and I wasn't, with all of that going on, so there is no, is there a motion on the floor at this point?
No.
Okay,
I would make a motion to accept
the recommendations of,
the recommendation as presented.
okay, I'll go so far. Is there a second to that motion?
On that resolution 2020-20,
That is correct. That's the approving the qualified subdivision
Right.
with the deed restriction of the, let me just,
we're restricting further subdivision of tracks A and B.
that's what we'd be
Just
voting on.
maintains it stays at 2 tens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion, continued discussion. Sensing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay.
No, I went aye.
Oh, you went aye? Okay, so we don't need to, pass unanimous.
If it helps, as after the fact,
Thanks, Brian.
the ordinance states, council can remove restrictions. That isn't something, I can add that, so if your concern is 20 years down the road, they see this deed and they think they can't remove it, I'm not asking you to approve anything else. The ordinance states councils have the authority. I'll just add that language. Councils have the authority to remove it.
If it helps clarity or something like that. But Brian is right. We don't want to send a signal out there that says this is a sacred, as a cow of Indian, you can't touch it, that there's 10 acres and you can't do anything with it. Yes, they can do something with it.
That's all I'm trying to
Yeah,
clarify.
Yeah.
I follow, I know what you said.
Yep. Okay. Clear as mud.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are now at the fire department. So Bill, you're done with, okay? Fire department. And at this stage of the game, it truly is an honor. And in every city, there are ordinary people that do extraordinary services for and behalf of the city. And so tonight, we want to take a moment to recognize such an individual in the city of Rockville, and that is an appreciation of service to Brenda Lodemeyer, Rockville Fire Department, and there's a lot of stuff that Marty wrote up, and in the essence of time, I'll just kind of highlight, and I believe it states that the appreciation shows that she has served to the community of Rockville 27 plus years. And so the city of Rockville and the Rockville Fire Department wish to thank you for your services and dedication to one Brenda Lodemeyer, and a superb job. And so to that end, a round of applause if she could hear us. That would be in order, and she probably can't, but She is not here tonight, nor do I see the fire chief here tonight. So Mr. Bodie, would you be so kind as to make sure that an appropriate time when she would be properly presented with this, and if there's a photo op available, please make sure that that happens or something like that. So I'll give it to you at the end of the meeting and we'll go from there. And Brenda, thank you very much. Comments, anybody? Don, you served on the fire department for many years over there. Okay, very good. And thank you, Brenda. So now, moving right along, Public Works written report, sweeping, and it looks like there's some council action that needs to be done here.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, each one of those three, I think, is just, let's do the action. Aztec, we only received one quote, and that work is actually done, so this is an after-the-fact approval. Road grading, we received one quote from Herberg Construction, so I would assume Mr. Herberg will abstain from any discussion or action. Number 3 is dust control. We received 2 quotes, and the low bid, and its staff recommendation to approve CMDC as the lowest qualified bidder.
And that we could do in one council action?
I would ask for 3 if you don't mind.
No problem on that. And
I'll make a motion to approve the street sweeping.
And is there a second to that? Motion's been made in second. Discussion. And if I could, Mr. Bodie, and that is the one that did the actual thing, and it comes out to $55,000. That was Knife River. If we do the equation, and this one was like 44,000 or something like that, if we do the total arithmetic and calculations or something like that. So it's obvious that they were the parent low, the thing is qualifying bidder. So do they have any bond or anything that needs to be addressed? Nothing? Okay. So it would be in order for you if there's any other discussion. Otherwise, we'll ask for the, I'll call the question. Any other discussion? Any of the three?
Just for the street sweeping, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we had a motion?
One.
Just one, each one.
Oh, individually
2
we're
and
doing
3.
it. Oh, okay. Okay, I stand corrected. So street sweeping, quote, that was a motion.
Yes.
Second?
Yes.
A motion's been made in second to accept the street sweeping quote, Aztec. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? None. Passed unanimous.
Motion has been made to approve the road grading and blading.
Okay. Motion's been made. Second? Second for the road grading quote or bid? I'll second that motion. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I would like to reflect that I abstained.
Okay, Mr. Herberg has abstained on the action of the council as it relates to the blading of the road grading quotes. Thank you very much. Let's go to item number 3, dust control quotes. And I got ahead of myself. That's the 2 quotes that Mr. Bodie was alluding to. What's the wish?
I would make a motion to approve the CMDC as the low bidder for dust control.
No, second that motion.
Motion's been made and second to accept the CMDC quote for dust control. Additional discussion? Sensing none, all those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Sensing none, passed unanimous. Administrator and Mr. Administrator Bodie, Mr. Bodie, would you care to share with us the late-breaking news that is just arrived via whatever our governor has on at 6, and he has something to point out?
Well, I'll read it from NPR News. Governor Tim Walz will let his stay-at-home order expire as planned on Sunday night. More in-store retail operation and group gatherings of 10 or fewer will be allowed. He is expected to provide more details on the move later in his speech today.
Nice.
Okay. So to that end, I sense a comment coming from Mr. Simon in a second. Yes, Mr. Bodie?
I would still encourage, I didn't know if you wanted it, I would still encourage the adoption of that resolution.
Yes, when we get to that council, and I agree with you. So Don, please
I just
proceed.
wanted to make a comment back on that dust control there. There's a lot of roads I came back on Half Man and that road today. I think the last year or 2 we put that dust control on. We had that little bit of rain and the soil is really just controlled the dust, and like like what Brian said, I think we put another coat on, like Jerry's always been pushing for that. The road is staying pretty good. The dust is really, it takes just a little rain. You know, if they put, I don't know how thick they'll put it on, but I think we're gaining there. It's keeping the soil on the road. And also when it got nice here and I could finally get out and about, I did a lot of trash pickup at a ditch and I found there was very little. I think it's a little more of a gravel staying on the road too in the wintertime when the guys are plowing. So I think it's probably helping there. I just want to make that.
Dust control all roads or?
And no, there's
200.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
gravel.
30th Street.
Is it in the bid?
Well, I was just
President.
saying, Brian, that I drove that, which one is it out here that we,
230th.
I think if that was dust control, I didn't think it was as bad as, I didn't think it was bad. But I think if dust control would really help that road out.
230th Street gets sprayed. Agate Beach and Mitchell get sprayed. About half of Half Man gets sprayed. 2 spots on Glacier, and that's all we spray.
That's heavily traveled.
Money.
Yeah. It's the heavily traveled roads. I think that position is
It seems to be working quite well.
Well, that's why I'm saying. is
No,
that
I mean,
the
the
roads
amount
are
that
roads.
the
Is
amount that
money
we've
well
been
spent?
doing has been working quite well. Keep in mind, on part of Rouse Lake Road here gets sprayed too. Keep in mind when you spray it, that doesn't mean it doesn't get bladed after that. We still blade a couple times. It cuts the blading down considerably, but you still end up getting holes and chuck holes in it, and so you got to straighten that stuff out. We do blade a little bit different on the sprayed stuff because we don't get as aggressive with it. And we try to keep the sprayed stuff back on top of the road, so it just fills the holes back in and levels it back out. And we do it when it's wet, and it packs it back down, and it stays pretty good again for a while, so.
okay. Great. We are now past the administration portion, item 11, and going to item number 12. Unless you had anything else, Mr. Bodie, no? Okay, council action, appropriations, allocation, transfers under 12A, resolution 2020- whatever, resolution report supporting the city of Rockville business. That's what we had a substantial amount of our discussion during the workshop earlier, and I think it's still very, very relevant at this stage of the game, the resolution that was drafted by our legal counsel, and some of us chimed in on it, and so now would be the time for us to bring that back up. And now it was not circulated in the packet because it was not yet created at that stage of the game. And that resolution, if we pass it tonight and sending the right signal to the governor that the supporting of the city of Rockville businesses is sending the right signal, so I'm lobbying on that behalf, and that if it does pass, that Mr. Bodie, you would have that put into the into Rockville News or into the put it on the webpage for the public to see what it is, because it didn't get it circulated.
After all the discussion previous, I'm going to make a motion to approve resolution 2020-21.
You second it?
Yeah, a number of whereases, and then now therefore be it resolved, and it's a one-pager. It's very succinct. A lot of the communities are doing it, and so to that point, I think for us, when we look at our strategic alignment for our council, hopefully we're sending a signal out there to the businesses, and that's what the resolution's all about. So there is a motion on the floor.
I think if you read the therefore, that would be helpful.
Oh, if you read that, no, therefore.
Okay, it's the last 2 paragraphs. Therefore, that the City Council of Rockville hereby requests relief from Governor Walz's executive orders closing these non-critical local businesses. That the City Council of Rockville urges Governor Walz to restore the power of issuing emergency orders and implementation related to the COVID-19 pandemic to individual municipalities and local government agencies to determine whether non-critical local businesses can safely reopen, while reserving to the governor the power and authority over critical sectors, including but not limited to meat processing plants, hospitals, long-term care facilities. Adoption by the City Council of Rockville on this 13th day of May.
And
so we have a motion and a second.
And that's a resolution 2020-21. And there's a motion and a second on the floor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, additional discussion? Sensing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye. Aye. Resounding aye. Those opposed, nay. Abstention, seeing none, passed unanimous. Hopefully, to the business people of Rockville, that sends a signal that we're in you with you in this, and we realize the hurt, and this is a unique way of us showing that in unified effort here from the council. Okay, we are getting close to the end. We have Sandy Hillskin Memorial Bench donation. It's an FYI.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Yes.
Say again. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just said it's very nice.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's been placed. It's on just beyond what was known as the Cow Mart, and it's on city property. A couple of trees and a nice.
Oh, that's where it is.
Yes. And so for the public that may see that, it was a donation. And Mr. Bodie, you might be able to embellish a little bit. It's on the screen for the public to see right now. For those of you who don't have that, but you have the Rockville council packet in front of you, you'll see it on the last 2 pages of that thing. And so to the Hillskin family, we thank you for that generous offer to the city of Rockville, and continued having, as a memorial states, a moment of peace out there. So it does not take council action at this point. I believe city staff, Public Works worked with the Hillskin family. Is that correct, Mr. Bodie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else other at this point? It appears that we will not have our last Monday of the month meeting in May because of lack of items that need to be. And so we will not have our regular first Monday or last Monday of the month council meeting. So the records will show that. The calendar will show that. And so Mr. Bodie felt also that it was not needed at this stage of the game. So,
all right. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded and thirded to adjourn. All those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.